Welcome back to the Emotionally Healthy Woman. Today we're going to talk about quit lying to yourself, to others, and to God. First of all, I want to clarify something from last week. I was not trying to imply that we do not have a responsibility to change for God, because we do. The Bible speaks very clearly about the fact that we die to ourselves, that we put on the new man, that we are to work on the things like love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, and self-control. These are things we're supposed to work on, which means we need to be changing for God. Sometimes we need to bend for people, but we don't change for people. This is not the same thing. We don't want to be Sandy or Danny from Greece who changed because it's what the other person want. They had to change their being, and that's not okay. What I meant and what I was trying to get across was that we are all members of one body. And as I said about the toolbox, we are all different tools. We all have different purposes. I'm not going to change who I am inherently because you don't like it. I'm not going to change who I am inherently because you don't agree with it or like how I respond to things. What I am going to do is evaluate, self-evaluate to make sure that I'm in line with God's will for me, that I'm in line with God's word, and I need to bend and allow others to be who they are. Just because I am who I am doesn't mean I get to lord it over other people. Okay, so understand that while you don't need to care about what others think in your ministry, in your choices per se, you do need to align yourself with God. And if that requires a change, you need to change. But I'm not going to change for Mary's sake. I'm going to change for God's sake. I'm going to change for my sake. I'm going to change because it's what God tells me to do. I'm going to yield to others at times, and at times others will yield to me. But either way, I'm not changing my core physical, mental, emotional being to be what someone else wants me to be. Hopefully that is clearer, and I apologize for the confusion. So look at this image. What do you see? Do you see a foot-long sandwich? To me, it looks like it's just barely 11 inches, not even. So why does Subway claim that it's a foot long? Well, the bread before it's baked is a foot long, but then it shrinks as it's baking, and it comes out not quite a foot. Somewhat false advertising. And what about this one? The advertisement shows 3 good-sized kids and a mom knelt down next to this little pool. It seems to imply that the pool is big enough for 3 kids, and big enough that a mom kneeling down next to it is half covered. However, reality is that not even 1 kid can fit in that pool. Again, false advertising. And take a look at this quote. Don't believe everything you read on the internet just because there's a picture with a quote next to it. This quote is attributed to Abraham Lincoln. Think about that for a minute. The internet wasn't even around when Abraham Lincoln was alive, and yet you can find this quote on the internet. We're lied to all the time by media, by other people, by advertisements. We are also lied to by ourselves. We lie to ourselves, we lie to other people, and we lie to God. So can you think about ways that we lie to ourselves, to others, and to God? I mean, really think about it. I want you to be totally honest with yourself. How have you been lying to yourself? What lies have you told others? And how do you lie to God? We're going to look at that. Unfortunately, the more people feel their self-esteem is threatened, the more they lie. For some reason, even a child will lie to protect themselves. They will lie to make themselves look better. Adults do it too. We don't grow out of that. You would think that we would, but we don't. Our world is based on a lot of lying. This is not healthy. It's not healthy for us. It's not healthy for others. It's not healthy for any relationships that we have. And although it seems harsh to be brutally honest, and I'm not saying be rude or mean, I'm saying we need to be honest. Honesty would be a good start. Examine, as I've been telling you to do, self-examine, self-evaluate. Why do you lie to yourself? Why do you lie to God? Why do you lie to others? Why is your self-esteem based so much on what others think? Think about that. In the book that we're working through, Geri Scazzero, the author, says the degree to which we live in truth is the degree to which we are free. When we lie, we shackle and chain ourselves, restricting the freedom Christ won for us. Think about that for a moment. Do you agree with it or disagree with it? Let me rephrase or restate. The degree to which we live in truth is the degree to which we are free. When we lie, we shackle and chain ourselves, restricting the freedom Christ won us. If you really think about that, when we lie, we are binding something upon ourselves and others. We are forced to live in that lie. When we lie, we make it so that that has to be our reality, and you have to keep it straight. You have to remember what you've said, who you said it to. You are not free when you lie. There is freedom in truth. When you have told the truth, there is nothing to hide. There is no reason for you to get caught in something that is untrue. And really, there's no reason for you to lie in the first place. We've grown up learning a pretense through unspoken and spoken rules, such as don't show your feelings, men don't cry, don't talk about embarrassing things. We don't show off or boast. You always be nice, always be good. You're a Christian now. Anger and disappointment and frustration should be hidden. Children are seen and not heard. There are things all around us that as we grow up, we learn that have taught us that lying is okay. Does this dress make my butt look big? Well, you're setting yourself and whomever you've asked this to in a bad predicament. Because if they tell the truth that yes, it does, well, that hurts your feelings. If they tell the truth and say it's not the dress, your butt is big, well, they're hurting your feelings. There is no out in this scenario. So we're not being honest even when we ask that question. Because really, the question you're asking is not about your butt, and it's not about the dress. You're asking for approval. You're asking for someone to tell you you look good. You don't want any other answer. So we're setting them up to lie. We're giving the pretense that we want the truth, but we really don't. This is what we've grown up in. This is our entire society. But the Bible tells us not to lie. God tells us that He wants truth. So why are we okay with this? Why do we allow ourselves to get caught up in the lie? Being one person at church, being another person at home, being another person at work. Why are you not the same person everywhere? I can be the same person in every situation. I may need to react differently. Just because I'm in a position at work where I can be firm and demanding does not mean that I am firm and demanding at home all the time. What it means is I have different roles to play. I'm a I'm I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm an executive assistant. All those carry different um, they all carry different responsibilities and different roles, but that doesn't mean that the core person I am changes for each of those. We need to stop lying to ourselves and acting like we are different people to our core. When we lie to ourselves, we are hurting ourselves. We lose who we are made to be to live the lie that we're telling. When we lie to ourselves, we end up harboring resentment and anger, and that's destructive. I mean, really look at it. Step back and look at it. You're destroying yourself. You're destroying your being, who God made you to be, because you're choosing to lie. We're not admitting or facing our weakness. We all have them. Why do we think it's wrong to admit them? Stop lying to yourselves. You have weakness. I have weakness. There are things I struggle with. There are things I don't want to face, but I have to face. Because for me to be healthy, I need to face them. Now, when I'm honest, I'm free from having to remember what was lied about. I'm free to accept who I am, to accept who other people are, for the good and the bad. Imagine the wonderful relationships you can have if you're honest with yourself, if you're honest with others. Knowing and accepting who you are and who they are, no matter their faults. What an incredible world we would have. Think about the confidence in your own integrity. What a great feeling to know that you are an honest person, that you choose to set aside what society says, what other people say, what other people do, to be honest as God would want you to be. We are made in His image. He is not a lying God. He is an honest God. He is the truth. Should we not be reflecting that as well? So why do we lie? I mean, really, think about what are your purposes behind lying. Don't want to look bad, don't want to hurt people, don't like conflict, people don't always accept the truth. Mom used to um, have conversations in her head, apparently with me a lot. Um, I was not privy to these conversations, obviously, but she would talk something out with me in her head, and in doing so, she had already determined how I was going to react and what she was going to say, and that I was going to be angry, so therefore she lied to me instead, never giving me the opportunity to, one, respond kindly, or even if I didn't respond kindly, to learn and grow from that. It's hard when you're afraid of conflict. You want to prevent it at all costs, which means lying a lot. This is not healthy. No, we don't want to hurt people's feelings, but by lying to them, that's not helping them either. I'm not saying, again, don't be rude. You tell the truth in love. You can be tactful and be honest. You know, you can say, I don't feel good, but I don't want to talk about it either. You know, when people are always asking you, how are you doing? Fine, I'm fine. No, you're not fine. You don't have to lay out all your problems, but you don't have to lie about it either. I'm having a bad day, but it'll all be good. I am blessed and highly favored, struggling, but I'm making it. There are things you can say with being honest and not lying. It's a detriment to lie to others. It's a detriment to lie to ourselves. It's a detriment to lie to God. So, instead of lying to others, we need to speak the truth. We need to speak the truth in love. You need to choose the right timing. Just because you need to tell someone something doesn't mean that right now, right there, in front of everybody is the right time or place. Think about what you need to say. Think about how you need to say it. Think about when you need to say it, okay? You need to use words respectfully. Don't throw unthought of words out there. Don't use common vernacular that may be misunderstood. You need to be honest. You need to be careful too. Take responsibility for your thoughts and feelings. It's not wrong for you to think or feel these things. It is wrong in how you respond to them or put them out there. You need to be careful about that. And if you've hurt someone's feelings, you need to take responsibility for that. Don't blame that on somebody else or something else. You need to take responsibility. I don't like this. Don't say, well, that really doesn't make you look good. You just need to say, I don't. I wouldn't choose that. I don't think that that's the most flattering thing on you. But take responsibility for it. Speak in the I. I don't. I want. I think. Don't try to put things on other people. This is you. You need to be honest, and you need to take responsibility for that honesty. Learning to speak the truth is crucial for spiritual maturity. You cannot grow spiritually by continuing to lie to yourself, or continuing to lie to others, or continuing to lie to God. It is extremely important to learn to speak the truth. So, in speaking the truth, you need to speak respectfully. Think before you speak in order to describe carefully what you want to say. Be polite, not insulting, and take the other person's feelings into account. Like I said, being honest does not require you to be rude. It does not require you to totally just throw out at anyone else's thoughts and feelings. You need to be respectful. Think about what you're going to say. Think about how you're going to say it, and say it in a polite way. Say it honestly. Say what you truly think or feel. Don't lie or fudge the truth. We're constantly fudging the truth, and we call it a little white lie, and it's okay, but it's not okay. It's still a lie. God hates lying. So stop. Stop the insanity. This is crazy. Our entire world lies all the time. Be honest. Be respectful. Do not think that it is okay to make little white lies. It's not. When God tells you to be honest, He's telling you to be honest in all things. This is a societal mess. Our advertising is lying. We lie to each other all the time. We need to stop. So I really want you to think about that. Think about how to do that. You're going to do that respectfully. You're going to think before you speak. You're going to say what you truly think or feel, not rudely, but honestly. You need to also speak clearly. Don't beat around the bush or drop hints to avoid the truth. Don't make a statement when you're really asking a question, and vice versa. Okay, beating around the bush and dropping hints does not work. People don't understand the hints the way you're giving them. So you're expecting them to understand something, and they don't get it. And you don't understand why they don't get it. Don't lie. Don't lie by beating around the bush. Be clear about what you're trying to say, okay? A lot of times we make a statement when we're really trying to ask a question. We need to be careful with that, okay? Because you're setting like that, does this dress make my butt look big? You're asking this question when really the statement you need to say is, I need your validity that I look good. You're not asking if your butt is big. You're trying to say it in a funny way, but you're not asking if your butt's big. You're not asking if the dress makes your butt look big. You're setting them up for failure. What you need to ask or state is, I need confirmation. I need validation. Please validate me. Don't put them in a position where they have to lie to you. Be clear about what you really need. You also want to speak timely. Pick a time that's beneficial to both the speaker and the listener, you and the other person. It's not always, right now is not always the best time to sit down and have an honest conversation. Right now may not be the time to reveal something. They may ask you a question and it may not be the best time for you to answer it. Be honest with that, okay? Pick a time that you can talk about it. Make that time. Don't put it off. Just make the time, okay? If I'm angry, that is not the best time to come try to talk to me about certain things. Um, you need to find a time that is best for the both of you to talk about some things. But truly, you need to be respectful. You need to be honest. You need to be clear, and you need to be timely. Okay, I really liked this quote from the book because I just thought it was me, and I had never verbalized this, but she laid, laid it out perfectly. I mistakenly thought that if I didn't say certain things out loud, then they weren't a reality, even to God. He wouldn't know how angry, depressed, ashamed, hopeless, or confused I felt, as if he didn't already know all my thoughts and feelings. Do you think that sometimes? Or do you act like that even if you don't think it or say it? We make these blanket statements in our prayers for please forgive my sins. What sins? If I don't say them out loud, then they're not real. I don't have to face what issues I have if I don't say them out loud, right? Because God doesn't already know what we struggle with. He doesn't already know what we're feeling and why we're feeling that. Come on, seriously? You know He does. So why do we lie to God by omitting things, by not doing and saying what we need to say, by not facing ourselves? We are we're lying to God in not being honest. He knows. We're not being honest for His sake. We're being honest for our sake. We need to be honest so that we can have a good relationship with Him, a good relationship with others, and a good relationship with ourselves. It's very important. And although it seems silly that, well, if we don't say it out loud, it's not real, we live that. At least I do or have. If I didn't say it out loud, then it wasn't real. That's not the way it works. It doesn't make it unreal. It just makes you denying it. And denying it is not healthy at all. It is not healthy. So we need to be extremely careful. We're not we're not to lie to God. We're not lie to others. We're not to lie to ourselves. And we've gotten so ingrained with our society in lying that it's going to take a lot to step back and evaluate everything you're saying, why you're saying it. When you catch yourself in a little white lie, stop, correct it, and then self-evaluate to figure out why you felt you had to say that. Why did you feel like you had to defend yourself? Why did you feel like you had to make your value greater than someone else's? Why are you lying? Think about that. This is the crux, and I know this is not an easy one because our society is so ingrained with it. I know this is difficult, but it is important. It's very important for us to grow spiritually and emotionally healthy. You have to stop lying. So I want you to remember, lying, not being completely honest, is ingrained in our lives. It is all around us. All around us. We need to commit to being totally honest with ourselves, totally honest with others, and totally honest with God, always speaking the truth in love. I am not giving you a clear certificate to go out and be rude and brutal and horrible. I'm telling you need to speak the truth in love. You need to speak it respectfully, honestly, clearly, and timely. Your self-esteem will soar, your integrity will be intact, and you will have peace and freedom by living in truth. This is a good thing. This is what we're going for. This is partly why we're having this class, is because we need to have this peace and freedom. Well, truth is one of those things, one of those ways that you will get peace and freedom. So I want you to think on this week. Honesty does not equal cruelty. Colossians 3:9 and 10 says, "Do not lie to one another, since you laid aside the old self with its evil practices and have put on the new self." Think about that. We have laid aside the old self with all its evil practices and have put on the new self. That new self requires honesty. Next week, we're going to talk about quit dying to the wrong things. I hope you have a great week. Thank you.